At this place in history, we're in Sheldon with Executive Director of the Vermont Historical Society, Steve Perkins. What brings us here today?
So it's one of those towns where we're going to come and talk a bit about the name.
Okay.
Sheldon.
Sheldon, so a person, I'm assuming.
Yes, usually it's a person. What's interesting with this town is it did not start out as Sheldon. So it was originally chartered as Hungerford.
Oh, I kind of like that.
Yeah, so named after, again, a guy's last name of Hungerford. And a number of folks bought patents or land titles to this town, but nobody really moved here until the early 1790s. And so that's after Vermont becomes a state. And one of those early families was the Sheldon family.
So who is the head of the Sheldon family?
So the head of the Sheldon family was Elisha Sheldon. His sons came up ahead of him and, built the houses and helped kind of grow this town. And then he came up a little bit later and lived out the rest of his life here. And the town is named after the Sheldons. But the really kind of cool connection between Elisha Sheldon and kind of our history of our country is his connection with George Washington.
Oh, what is that?
So Elisha Sheldon was in charge of, I'm going to try to get this right, the Second Continental Light Dragoons.
Wow, that does not roll off the tongue.
It doesn't. So it's a cavalry unit. Dragoons were troopers that were trained to fight both on horseback and on foot, and light referred to their horses, so they rode on lightweight horses as opposed to heavy horses. Anyway, this was one of George Washington's favorite units in the Continental Army, and he used them as his personal bodyguard. They were deployed to almost every battle throughout the northern part of what's now the United States. So they were at Saratoga, and they were at Trenton, and they were at Brandywine, they were at White Plains. They were all over the place. They were based out of Connecticut, and Elisha Sheldon was in charge of that unit.
No way.
And in fact, they called it Sheldon's horse.
So is there anything in recent memory or pop culture maybe that would remind us of Sheldon's horse?
There is. My brother, who lives in Nova Scotia, wrote me a note a little while ago. He said, I love this television show. It's called Turn. It's about George Washington's spies.
Great show.
Great show. Takes place on Long Island and on Connecticut. And it turns out that the head of Washington's spy ring, the Culper ring, was a major in Sheldon's horse.
Oh.
And he helped recruit these spies and run this whole spy ring. And that is the whole premise of this television show. And that is Sheldon's horse. It's the unit that this guy ran. And after the war, he was recommended by George Washington to get a whole chunk of land. They ended up right here in Vermont, and the town was named after them.
At this place in history.